My name is Aria, and I am 35 years old. For the past 10 years, I have been raising my husband's daughter as if she were my own. From the moment she was 6 years old and walked into my life with those sad, uncertain eyes, I knew I would love her unconditionally. We built a beautiful relationship, one filled with trust, laughter, and countless memories. When she got engaged recently, I was overjoyed and offered to pay for her entire wedding as a gift from my heart. But 3 weeks before the big day, I received a phone call that changed everything. Before I share what happened next, I would love to know where you are watching this from. Please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Trust me, you will want to hear how this story unfolds. Let me take you back to where it all began 10 years ago. I met my husband Daniel at a charity fundraiser in downtown Seattle. He was charming, kind, and had this warmth about him that immediately drew me in. We talked for hours that night, and by the end of the evening, I knew there was something special between us. Within 6 months, we were dating seriously, and he told me about his daughter Emma. Emma was 6 years old at the time, a quiet little girl with dark curls and eyes that seemed to carry a sadness no child should have to bear. Her biological mother, Patricia, had left the family when Emma was only 3 years old. Patricia had dreams of becoming a successful businesswoman in New York, and apparently, motherhood did not fit into those plans. She packed her bags one morning, left a brief note on the kitchen counter, and never looked back. No phone calls, no birthday cards, no child support, just silence. When I first met Emma, she did not speak much. She would hide behind Daniel's leg whenever I came around, peeking out occasionally with cautious glances. I understood her hesitation. She had already been abandoned by one woman who was supposed to love her. Why should she trust another? I decided early on that I would never force Emma to accept me. Instead, I would simply be present, consistent, and loving. I started small. I would ask her about her favorite color, her favorite snacks, what she liked to watch on television. Gradually, Emma began to open up. She told me she loved purple, that she enjoyed animal crackers, and that she was obsessed with cartoons about talking animals. I made it my mission to learn everything about this little girl. I started packing her lunches for school, making sure to include those animal crackers she loved. I learned how to braid her hair the way she liked it. I attended every single school event, from the small classroom presentations to the bigger year-end performances. I was there cheering louder than anyone else in the audience. One night, about 8 months after I started dating Daniel, Emma got very sick. She had a high fever that would not break, and she was shivering despite being wrapped in blankets. Daniel had to work an overnight shift at the hospital where he was employed as a nurse, so I stayed with Emma. I sat by her bedside all night, changing the cool washcloths on her forehead, making sure she stayed hydrated, and reading her favorite stories in a soft voice. When morning came and her fever finally broke, Emma opened her eyes and looked at me. Her small hand reached out and grabbed mine. In a voice barely above a whisper, she said, "Thank you, Mom." I froze. That was the first time she had ever called me Mom. Tears filled my eyes as I squeezed her hand gently. "You are welcome, sweetheart." I managed to say, my voice thick with emotion. From that moment on, our bond only grew stronger. Emma started introducing me to her friends as her mom. She would run to me after school with stories about her day. When she had her first crush at age 9, I was the one she confided in. When she struggled with math homework, I sat with her at the kitchen table for hours until she understood. When she auditioned for the school ballet recital and got the lead role, I was the one who practiced her routine with her every single evening. Daniel often told me how grateful he was. "I do not know what Emma and I would do without you," he would say. "You have given her something I could never give her on my own. You have given her a mother's love." The years passed, and Emma blossomed into a confident, intelligent young woman. She graduated high school with honors, and I sat in that auditorium with tears streaming down my face as they called her name. She had worked so hard, and I was so incredibly proud of her. After the ceremony, she hugged me tight and said, "I could not have done this without you, Mom. You have always believed in me." By the time Emma turned 24, she had been dating a wonderful young man named Tyler for 3 years. Tyler was respectful, hardworking, and genuinely kind. He adored Emma, and I could see how happy he made her. When Tyler asked for Daniel's blessing to propose, Daniel gave it without hesitation. We both felt that Tyler was the right person for our daughter. I thought I knew what happiness was, but nothing could have prepared me for the joy I felt watching Emma grow into the woman she had become. I never once regretted stepping into the role of her mother. I loved her with every fiber of my being, and I truly believed she loved me too. Looking back now, I realize how naive I was. I thought our bond was unbreakable. I thought the 10 years of love, sacrifice, and dedication meant something permanent. I thought Emma understood that biology did not define family. But I was wrong, and soon I would learn just how wrong I was. 6 months ago, Emma came home with news that filled our house with excitement. She burst through the front door, her face glowing, and held up her left hand. On her ring finger sparkled a beautiful diamond engagement ring. "He proposed," she squealed, bouncing on her toes like she used to do as a little girl. Daniel and I wrapped her in a group hug, all of us laughing and crying at the same time. Tyler had proposed during a weekend trip to the mountains, getting down on one knee beside a waterfall. It was romantic and perfect, and Emma could not stop gushing about every detail. The very next day, Emma and I started planning the wedding. We spent hours browsing through bridal magazines, creating Pinterest boards, and discussing every little detail. Emma wanted a rustic wedding, something intimate and warm. She envisioned a ceremony in a beautiful barn venue surrounded by nature with wildflowers and string lights, creating a magical atmosphere. We spent our weekends visiting potential venues. I will never forget the day we found the perfect place. It was a renovated barn about an hour outside the city, nestled among rolling hills and surrounded by tall trees. The moment Emma walked in, her eyes lit up. "This is it, Mom," she said, grabbing my arm. "This is where I want to marry Tyler." The venue was stunning, but it was also expensive. The coordinator quoted us a price of $12,000 just for the space rental. Then there was catering to consider, flowers, photography, videography, a wedding planner to coordinate everything. And of course, Emma's dress. One evening, as we sat at the kitchen table reviewing the budget, I noticed Emma's expression grow worried. She was adding up numbers on her calculator, her brow furrowed in concern. "Mom, I do not think Tyler and I can afford all of this," she admitted quietly. "We have been saving, but we only have about $8,000. That is not even enough to cover half of what we want." When Tyler had just started his career as a software engineer, and while the job was promising, he was still in the early stages. Emma worked as a graphic designer for a small company, and her salary was modest. They were doing well for young professionals, but a wedding of the scale Emma envisioned was simply beyond their current means. Daniel had wanted to contribute, but we had faced some unexpected medical expenses the previous year, when he had to have surgery. Our savings had taken a significant hit, and we were still recovering financially. I looked at Emma's disappointed face and made a decision. "Sweetheart," I said, reaching across the table to take her hand, "let me handle the wedding costs. Consider it my gift to you. You deserve a beautiful day, and I want to give you that." Emma's eyes filled with tears. She came around the table and threw her arms around me. "Mom, I do not know what I would do without you," she sobbed into my shoulder. "You have done so much for me already. This is too much." I hugged her tightly. "Nothing is too much for you, Emma. You are my daughter, and I love you. Let me do this." Over the next few months, I threw myself into planning and paying for Emma's wedding. I met with the venue coordinator and put down the $12,000 deposit. I hired a wedding planner who came highly recommended, paying her fee of $3,000 up front. I booked a photographer and videographer package for $5,000 because I wanted Emma to have beautiful memories captured forever. The florist required a deposit of $2,000 to secure the date and begin designing arrangements. The catering was one of the biggest expenses. Emma wanted a sit-down dinner for 120 guests, and the quote came to $8,000. I transferred the deposit from my personal savings account without hesitation. Then there was Emma's dress. We went to an upscale bridal boutique, and when Emma tried on a gorgeous lace gown that made her look like a princess, I saw her eyes light up. The dress cost $3,000. I handed over my credit card with a smile. In total, I had already spent approximately $35,000 on Emma's wedding. It was a significant portion of my savings money I had been putting away for years. But I did not care. Emma was worth it. Seeing her happy was worth every penny. Around 2 months before the wedding, something unexpected happened. Emma received a Facebook message from someone she had not heard from in over 20 years. It was from Patricia, her biological mother. Emma showed me the message one evening. Patricia had written a long paragraph about how she had heard through a distant relative that Emma was getting engaged. She expressed regret for being absent all these years and asked if they could meet to talk. The message was filled with apologies and explanations about how difficult her life had been, how she had struggled to build her career, and how she had always thought about Emma. I watched Emma's face as she read the message aloud to me. There was confusion there, mixed with something else I could not quite identify. Maybe curiosity, maybe hope. "What do you think I should do, Mom?" Emma asked, looking up at me. I chose my words carefully. "That is entirely up to you, honey. Patricia is your biological mother, and if you want to hear what she has to say, that is your choice. I will support whatever you decide." Emma nodded slowly. "I think I want to meet her. Just once. I have questions that I have always wanted answers to." "Then you should meet her," I said, even though a small knot of anxiety formed in my stomach. "Just be careful, okay? Actions speak louder than words." Emma agreed, and a few days later she met Patricia at a coffee shop downtown. I tried not to think about it too much while Emma was gone, but I found myself checking my phone constantly, wondering how it was going. When Emma came home that evening, she seemed emotionally drained. She sat down on the couch and told me about the meeting. "Patricia cried a lot," Emma said. "She told me she made terrible mistakes and that leaving me was the biggest regret of her life. She said she wants to be part of my life again to make up for lost time." I listened, my heart heavy. "How do you feel about that?" I asked gently. Emma shrugged. "I do not know yet. It is complicated. Part of me is angry that she waited this long, but another part of me wants to believe she is being genuine." "Just take your time," I advised. "You do not have to make any decisions right away." But over the following weeks, Emma began spending more and more time with Patricia. They met for lunch, went shopping together, and Patricia even attended one of Emma's dress fittings. I tried to be supportive, even though I noticed Emma seemed distracted and distant. Our nightly phone calls became less frequent. When we did talk, Emma seemed preoccupied